Introduction, the myth versus the reality of Darkseid. Darkseid is supposed to be the ultimate villain in DC Comics, the personification of evil itself. He's a god, a master tactician, and a cosmic-level threat capable of wiping out entire universes. At least, that's what DC wants you to believe. But if you actually look at Darkseid's history, you'll notice something weird. He loses a lot. Not just in epic, hard-fought battles. No. He loses in embarrassing ways. Beaten by heroes who shouldn't stand a chance, outsmarted by humans, and written into failure over and over again. So today, we are breaking down why Darkseid is one of the biggest wasted potentials in comic book history. Why does he lose so often? Is he actually a lazy villain? Or is DC just scared to let him win? Let's dive in. Part 1: Darkseid's greatest and most humiliating losses. Darkseid has lost countless times, but some of these losses are so bad that they damage his credibility as a villain. Let's go through the worst of the worst. 1. Superman 1 punches Darkseid into oblivion. Final Crisis, 2008. Final Crisis should have been Darkseid's ultimate moment. He had succeeded in his goal, infecting Earth with the anti-life equation, bending the world to his will. He had finally won. And then Superman shows up and knocks him out with one punch. Think about that for a second. Darkseid had become a metaphysical god, transcending space and time itself. But all it took was one hit from Superman, who was powered by a cosmic song, no less, and boom. Game over. 2. Batman kills him with a gun. Final Crisis, 2008. As if being punched into oblivion wasn't bad enough, earlier in the same story, Darkseid got taken down by Batman. With a gun. Let me say that again, the so-called god of evil was shot by a mortal man. Sure, a Batman used a radion bullet, which is one of Darkseid's weaknesses, but still, shouldn't Darkseid, an all-powerful new god, have seen this coming? Shouldn't he have avoided it? But no. He just stood there and got shot. 3. The Justice League humiliates him. Justice League Origin, 2011. In the New 52 reboot, DC introduced Darkseid to a new generation of readers in Justice League Origin. And how did they showcase DC's biggest villain? By having the Justice League beat the ever-living hell out of him. Superman and Flash run circles around him. Wonder Woman stabs him in the eye. Aquaman and Green Lantern overpower him. And finally, they shove him through a boom tube like he's a Lotia henchman. This was supposed to be Darkseid's grand introduction. Instead, it made him look like an easily beatable brute rather than a master manipulator or a god. 4. Completely irrelevant in Zack Snyder's Justice League, 2021. When fans heard Darkseid was going to appear in Zack Snyder's Justice League, they expected an epic showdown. Instead, he did absolutely nothing. He just stood in the background, glaring through a portal while Steppenwolf did all the work. When the Justice League defeated Steppenwolf, Darkseid didn't react, he didn't invade, didn't take revenge. He just walked away. A true conqueror wouldn't have let that slide. But Darkseid? He just stood there looking passive. 5. Gets brutally beaten by his own son. Death of the New Gods, 2007. Darkseid claims to be the ultimate warrior, but when he fights his own son, Orion, in Death of the New Gods, what happens? Orion doesn't just win, he destroys him. Easily. And the worst part? This wasn't some desperate, last-minute victory. Orion straight up dominated the fight. Darkseid barely put up resistance. For a character who talks about being the pinnacle of power, he sure gets outclassed a lot. Part 2: Why does Darkseid always lose? At this point, it's not just bad luck. Darkseid's failures are a pattern. But why does DC keep doing this to him? 1. The A Big Villain problem. Superhero comics never let their biggest villains win. If Darkseid actually succeeded in enslaving Earth, the story would be over. Unlike Thanos, who actually got to achieve his goal in Infinity War, Darkseid is stuck in an endless cycle of almost winning, but not really. 2. Darkseid doesn't fight, he delegates. One of the biggest reasons why Darkseid keeps failing is that he almost never gets his hands dirty. Instead of taking action, he sends Steppenwolf, Darkseid, Caliban, or Granny Goodness to do his work for him. And what happens? They fail. Over and over again. If Darkseid is really this all-powerful god, why does he keep relying on incompetent underlings? 3. Superman's plot armor. Darkseid is supposed to be Superman's greatest enemy. But here's the problem. DC will never let Superman permanently lose. No matter how strong Darkseid is written, Superman will always pull off a last-minute victory. It's not about logic, it's about preserving Superman's image as DC's ultimate hero. 4. DC's inconsistency with his power levels. Sometimes, Darkseid is a cosmic entity who can warp reality. Other times, Batman can shoot him with a gun and end his story. DC constantly changes how powerful he is, which makes it hard to take him seriously. Is he a god? Or is he just a big, strong dude? DC can't decide. Part 3, is Darkseid a lazy villain? After looking at all these losses, we have to ask. Is Darkseid actually a well-written villain? Or is he just bad? The case for yes, he's lazy. He talks big but never actually finishes the job. He relies too much on underlings instead of taking action. He refuses to adapt, he keeps using the same tactics despite failing every time. The case for no, he's just badly written. His presence is still intimidating. When written well, Darkseid can be truly terrifying. He has a brilliant philosophy, his belief in order and domination is genuinely interesting. It's not Darkseid who's the problem, it's DC's fear of letting him actually win. Final verdict, the biggest wasted potential in comics. Darkseid should be DC's answer to Thanos, a villain so powerful that when he shows up, heroes are genuinely afraid. Instead, he's been reduced to a punching bag. He's not lazy. He's not weak. He's just trapped in bad storytelling. So what do you think? Should Darkseid finally get a real victory, or is he doomed to fail forever? Let me know in the comments. Like this video if you think Darkseid deserves better writing. Subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite comic book characters. Comment below what's the worst Darkseid loss you've seen.